Hello, my name is Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to talk about eschatology, how it can be relevant. Coming right up. Okay, so I know we're right in the middle of 2020, or it's late 2020 right now, and everyone's saying, the world is coming into an end. The world's coming to an end. And we say, I hear this all the time, like, we're already in the tribulation. And then we have other sides of this that it's never going to happen. And I mean, it always rises to a fever pitch around significant time frames like 2000. I mean, Y2K was going to shut everything off and we were going to freak out for the longest time. And then 2020 comes around and every crazy thing that can happen has been happening around us. And I think that we need to kind of take a step back and realize what the Bible says about it. It's not what the world situation says about it, it's what the Bible says about it. Now, the other extreme of this is that we have people that will say, you know what, I don't know, Revelation's too confusing, I'm not going to worry about it, I'm just going to be a pan-tribulationalist. And that what they mean is they really don't want to pay attention to it, so it'll all pan out in the wash. Let me just talk a little bit about some of those areas. Now, one of the things that people struggle with is this thing called the secret rapture. There's going to be a secret rapture. It's not even talked about in the Bible. Well, yes, it is. Okay? 1 Thessalonians 4:16 through 18 says Jesus will show up in the clouds. He will come to his people and we're gone. Now, there's this word that people get all upset about, rapture. It's not in the Bible. Now, rapture is a Latin word that we borrowed to utilize for explanation. Now, Latin isn't in the Bible. Greek is. So the Greek word is harpazo. Harpazo is this word, and what it means is to take something by force and rip it from the board or rip it from that situation and repurpose it. Now, it's a really interesting word when you think about what that word really is meaning. Let me give an example of how one would use harpazo. Okay, so when we say harpazo, I used to play chess with my son. I don't anymore. I mean, when he was little, he didn't know how to do it. I'm talking about like 8, 9, 10, and he didn't know how to do it. And and I would kind of back off. And then when he started to get the ideas of how to do it, he would start looking at strategies. And then I had to really up my game. And then finally, I'm doing everything I can. And then, I mean, it was like about a year or two. Then he's just wiping me off the board, and he would take it, my queen, oh, I'm so sorry, Dad. And I'm a little competitive, and I'm not trying to be mean here with him, and I wasn't mad or anything, but as soon as I would get one of his big pieces, I would just grab it, like, okay. And that's the harpazo that happens. Now, one of the fascinating parts of harpazo, it's also used in a wedding. See, the woman is taken from her family and repurposed. Now, I know that sounds like, what? What it really means in the Greek and how it was applied and how they were using it in the New Testament, specifically Paul when he was writing to the Thessalonians, what he's saying is that the bride is repurposed for the groom. Okay, so it's a bit of it'll be weird, but a sexual term, okay? It's that cleaving to one another. And that's what's occurring in the harpazo. And so it pulls you from one reality to another. So that's one way to kind of consider that point. Now, some people will say, you people in the church or you people are trying to talk about your escapism. And, there are Chinese Christians that are going through horrible issues and dying for their faith. And I understand where you're going on that one point. And when you die for your faith, what happens is it helps you to move yourself into a deeper faith, meaning that persecution leads you to a deeper level of faith. And I just want to deal with that, and we're going to stop after this one point, and then we'll come back and deal with it on part 2. Okay. When we consider persecution leads to joy. Now, I mean, this is crazy when I tell you about this. But if you're being persecuted and you really don't deserve it, like, the state is persecuting you on an IRS kind of thing. And, I've had that issue where, I didn't do anything wrong and my accountant was just coming unglued, okay? And what it did is it led me to a confidence in Jesus, okay? I'm there with you, okay? Now, there are persecutions that are going to lead to levels of joy. And there are people that are dying for their faith all over the world and have done over the last several hundred years, kind of thing. But what I want you to understand is that the tribulation, every time I dig into the tribulation, it's not just a little persecution where people are yelling at you. The first half of the tribulation is so bad that there isn't any time in history that you could possibly put a little bit like it. You can't go into the depths of World War II. You can't go into the depths of 2020 or pick any date you want to come up with or any place or time frame that it will ever be like. Because in the beginning of the tribulation, there is World War III. World War III, that's the third seal. There will be famine. There will be, it is so bad, it's hard to imagine. And then in the second half of the tribulation, oh my gosh, it's all off the charts. We have in the seals, in the trumpets, what we'll have is the fifth trumpet, in which people will want to die, but they can't die. It'll be people murdering one another, but they're really not murdered. People committing suicide, but can't die for 5 months. This is Revelation 9. And backed up to that will be World War IV. There'll be another war, 1.5 billion people that will die in that. It says in Matthew 24:24, if the days aren't shortened, no flesh would survive. Now, I have a friend of mine who teaches, his name is Jeff Swanson, and with a planbible.com, so go planbible.com. And he actually says it's slightly different, just in an English setting. He goes, you know what? If no one would make it, if Jesus goes just one day longer than the 7-year tribulation. And he's so right in there. Because everyone would die. The reality is, this isn't persecution. This is complete levels of wrath. Now, it's wrath upon the situations that are happening. We're going to talk a little bit about the wrath issue coming up and what that really means in there. So are we in the tribulation? Heck no, guys, we're not there yet, okay? There's more to the situation that will happen. And I'm going to talk a little bit about 2020 in the next episode here. So thanks for listening. If you like what we're talking about, go ahead and subscribe and like and ask some questions too. Thank you so much.